Okay, so now that we've discussed SN1, SN2, E1, E2 separately, we can look at them all together and make sure that we can understand how to differentiate when one mechanism or reaction will be favored over another. So there's two main things to consider anytime you're wondering, okay, how is this thing going to react and what mechanism are we going to use in order to predict the products. And those two things are, what is the substitution of the alcohol or the alkyl halide? And in the case of the alkyl halide, what is the size of the base? Is it big or small? And that will help us predict what mechanisms can go by and what products we'll get. So these aren't things that you need to memorize for the sake of memorizing. It's good to be able to produce these tables from memory, but to understand why each thing does what it does. And so we have to go through and think about each case and try to make sense of it. Otherwise, memorizing this table isn't going to provide you all the information that you need. There has to be an understanding connected with it. So we know that primary and secondary alcohols are not reactive toward HCl unless your teacher just gives you this mechanism and says, okay, what's going to be the reaction? Then you need to understand it. Otherwise, you're not gonna produce this on your own necessarily, unless once again you're provoked by your teacher to answer a question about it. But we know that if it's tertiary, then it'll go by SN1. That's probably the first mechanism you cover in the book in chapter 4. HBr is a lot more reactive than acid, and so it'll react with primary, secondary, and tertiary alcohols. And we've seen those mechanisms. We understand that it reacts, it goes by SN2 with primary because we don't form primary carbocations. We've also seen large acids, relatively strong acids, react with alcohols. Once again, if it's primary alcohol, it's not going to form a carbocation, so we're going to go by E2. Other than that, we're going to go E1. And you can go back and look through your notes in the book and verify each of these cases to make sure this makes sense. Okay, going to alkyl halides, we have primary, secondary, and tertiaries with big strong bases, small strong bases, alcohol with heat, and alcohol with no heat. And try to compare those things. Once again, if we have primary, we're not going to have E1 or SN1. These are all bimolecular mechanisms. And you should be able to go through and verify each of these cases to make sure that you understand it. And why it is that if you've got a tertiary alkyl halide that can lose its halide relatively easily, why would it go E2? And to answer that, you need to understand the rate determining step and why a strong base would not allow the leaving group to just fall off. Understanding that the deprotonation, or the removal of the hydrogen from beta elimination, is a lot faster than carbocation formation. So going through and reasoning through each of these cases and making sense of that is very important. And these tables are more to help you to compare and to contrast than just straight up memorize. And so it'll help remove confusion if you can go through each of these cases and try to make sense of it.